This is the second video to adding fractions with unlike denominators. Because this is the second video, I am going to move a little bit faster through the process. The first video, we just introduced the 4 steps to solving these types of problems, and really talked more in depth about what each step entailed. So the problem we're going to work on now is 4/12 plus 1/4. So you should pause the video so you can create your foursquare, and you want to make sure you put the heading for now for each box. And the first step is going to be writing the problem. So I'm going to go ahead on mine and write 4/12 plus 1/4. So go ahead and pause the video so that you can fill this information out, and then we can go ahead and solve it together. All right, so now we're getting ready to solve our problem. So we notice that our denominators are different, and because they're different, we need to find a way to have our denominators be common. So the way to do that is to find what we call the least common denominator. And we do that by taking our denominators, 4 and 12, and finding the least common multiple. So I'm going to go ahead and find my least common multiple of 4 and 12. Now when I'm finding my multiples, I'm skip counting, and to find my least common multiple, I continue on for both numbers until I find a multiple that they both have that is the same. The first common multiple is the least common. So in this case, for 4 and 12, my least common multiple is 12. So 12 also becomes my least common denominator. So I'm going to use this piece here to help me when I'm creating my equivalent fraction. So go ahead and circle 12. And then now we're going to go ahead and stack our fractions 4/12 and 1/4. And we're going to make it equivalent to fractions that have a denominator of 12. All right. So now it should look something like this. So I used 12 because that was my least common multiple, which for this process becomes my least common denominator. So I'm looking at my first one, 4/12 equals how many 12s? Well, notice that the denominator is the same. So 12 times 1 equals 12. And the rules for equivalent fractions are whatever I multiply my numerator or denominator by, I multiply, in this case, my numerator by the same. So I know that 12 times 1 equals 12, which means 4 times 1 equals 4. 4/12 equals 4/12. Now this is a little bit trickier. What can I multiply 4 by to get the product of 12? How many groups of 4 will give me 12? Well, I know that 4 times 3 equals 12. So that means I need to do 1 times 3. Good. So let's do 4 times 3 and 1 times 3. So now I have 4/12 and 3/12 because I multiplied by numerator and denominator by 3. So now I'm going to use my equivalent fractions, 4/12 and 3/12, to actually solve my problem, because I can only add or subtract fractions when the denominators are the same. So in my solve box, I'm going to do 4/12 plus 3/12 like this. So even though my original problem was 4/12 plus 1/4, I had to create equivalent fractions for both of these fractions in order to solve. So when I'm actually solving, I need to make sure my denominators are the same. So in this case, now that they're the same, I can just go ahead and add straight across. 4 plus 3 is 7. Leave my denominator the same, 7/12. So I'm going to leave this up here for you. And you can check your process and just go through the steps if you need to. You can pause this video to make sure that your steps look just like mine. And in the end, I know 4/12 plus 1/4 equals 7/12.